What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you all for taking the time to be here today. Anybody that's watching the stream after the stream, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch little old me. Got a lot to talk about. We got a lot going on in the Lakers world. Obviously, LeBron becomes extension eligible today. Just for clarification for some, I'm sure somebody's going to ask this at some point because I get that all the time, but this isn't a hard date. LeBron essentially has until like June 30th or something like that to sign this extension. So there's not a need for rush or emergency or anything like that. LeBron James and Rich Paul, his team, have talked to Rob Pelinka and have made some positive conversations. I don't think he's going to sign an extension regardless. I just think it's one of those things, what I've been preaching, that he's probably going to do 1+1 deals from now till, he finally goes and plays with his son. It's very likely. The Lakers got LeBron James very likely for the next 3 to 4 years at the least. I don't think LeBron's retiring anytime soon. So I'm not worried about it. Even which was kind of funny, Nick Wright on First Things First, he was even reiterating a lot of the same things I've been saying. And not that that's anything, but it's nice to hear somebody that does this for a living kind of reiterate the same things that I've been putting out. Is just like, he's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about it. All the reports say he's not going anywhere, that he loves LA, that he's probably wasn't going to sign the extension regardless because it ruins all your flexibility. But one of the things that Nick Wright said that I thought was a really good point was that usually when players sign an extension, it's for that financial security, right? It's to lock it up. They don't care about the future. They don't care about anything. They care about putting their money in their pocket and getting that stability, getting that financial stability. And when LeBron, he doesn't need that. He's going to get that money regardless. He's not worried about it. He's a billionaire, stuff like that. And any team could pay him pretty close to that. If he were to go elsewhere, like I said, there's not many teams that could pay him that. And how many teams are going to trade for him? So I'm not worried about him leaving. As far as a contract extension goes, it's one of those things. You don't need to do it. Why would you do it? Leave the flexibility. LeBron's not stupid. LeBron knows how this works. He knows that by leaving that flexibility, if he needs to, he can make those adjustments. And they even talked about it on again, first things first. I saw it this morning. They were even talking about, LeBron, if he doesn't take the extension, it opens the door for him to take a pay cut if he needs to. Not saying that he will or that he should or anything like that, but you don't know what is going to come down the pipeline, right? Like, say they, the way that they put it, which is similar to what I've been saying, is like, say they do the Kyrie trade and they get Kyrie and they make it to the finals, or they make it to the Western Conference Finals and they lose in like a tough 7. Well, then LeBron could say, instead of paying me a max, do the James Harden thing, pay me $25 million, something like that, and then go and go get me that missing piece. It just gives LeBron flexibility for the Lakers, because this year he's very likely going to be the all-time scoring leader in the NBA history. So after that, what's left? The only thing that's left is to try to go get rings. And if he goes and ring hops, then he's in trouble, And first things first also made another really good point that, like, Jordan, he took $1 million. He took $1 million contract to play with the Wizards. I don't think LeBron's going to do that, but I could see him saying, like, what do we need? Like, let's say we don't get Kyrie. Let's say we do the Hield and Turner deal, right? In that deal, Turner is a free agent after this season. Let's say Kyrie wants to come. And this is what I've been talking about. If LeBron doesn't sign the extension, it gives him an opportunity to say, okay, I still want Turner and I want you to sign Kyrie. So sign Turner to his $20 million a year contract. Maybe you backload it for when LeBron does leave. Sign Kyrie Irving, and then I'll take, $20 million a season. Or they even said like maybe $15 million. I don't think he'd go that low. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze real quick. But yeah, I don't think he'd go that low. I don't think he'd go to like 15 million, but like maybe take 20 million a season, something like that. And you could go and keep this team and you could build a core. The point is it just gives financial flexibility. The other thing that I want to talk about, and we'll put these last 2 points together, and then we'll jump into the chat and see what you all have to say. But the last 2 points is like with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook very likely is going to be traded. I think Westbrook knows he's going to be traded. Beyond Westbrook being traded, I think the indication that he went and got Jeff Schwartz signals he is going to be traded because he got an agent that is known for getting players the most money in buyouts. So any team that trades for him is going to be a buyout. Now, if for whatever reason there is a reason that they have to keep Russell Westbrook, you ride it out with Russ for a year. And then now there are reports that, he comes off the bench. Now, I don't think that they're going to do that to start. I think they will start the season with Russ and they will try to make it work. I still think that they will operate as if Russ is a sixth man, but they will start him for his ego and stuff like that. So that way, he's not like a pain. But if it's not working, I think the next step is that, they put him off the bench. There's also the report that's came out that the Lakers have given Darvin Ham full permission to bench Russ at the end of games if need be, basically bench him, whatever. They've given Ham the right to whatever he feels he can now go and do when it comes to Russ. So I do imagine that they will try to make it work, that they will do what they can to kind of, put him in a position to try to succeed. And if that doesn't work, then they'll move him to the bench. And then, the Kyrie thing, there's been a lot of conflicting reports with that, which I'll cover them more in depth on as it stands later tonight. But to summarize, there's a report that Lakers are still Kyrie's number one destination, still his priority. And then there was another report from a New York insider, that said that he's at peace essentially with his with staying in the Nets. Now, again, New York insider, he's a guy that covers the Knicks, not the Nets. I don't know. It's just something there. But, that's been a roller coaster ride. We'll see what happens with Kevin Durant. As far as we know, there hasn't been a meeting with Kevin Durant yet as per scheduled this week. I figured it would be probably this weekend. Even if you look at that video, I said it would probably be Friday or sometime this weekend. So something along those lines. But that being said, let's jump into the chat, see what all you beautiful people are doing. And before, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Let's see this beautiful subscriber count go up. I'd really appreciate it. But how would things look if KD openly said that he wanted to be traded to Lakers instead of Kyrie? If that happened, I would imagine that that Kyrie would probably go too. The problem is that I think you'd still have to move Westbrook. And I don't think that they would want Westbrook and Kyrie on their team if you're the Brooklyn Nets. You're probably in a worse position if it was, assuming it was just KD. It would be a lot harder. But if, say, KD and Kyrie together were like, we want to play with the Lakers and that's the only team we're going to play for, then I think that becomes a different conversation because now you're talking AD and Westbrook for Kyrie and KD. Lakers probably give their 2 first-round picks, whatever. You make that deal work because you're probably winning maybe several championships, and that's just going to extend LeBron and everybody's career. So I think that would be more likely if Kevin Durant were to ever say that. It would probably have to be for both because the problem is, one, if KD did want to trade that, you're either trading Russell Westbrook or you're trading Anthony Davis, which if you could swap AD for KD, cool, that's fine. But one, I don't think the Nets would do that because then Kyrie's leaving. And then now Lakers could just sign Kyrie, KD, and Westbrook next, or LeBron next season. I just don't think that the Nets would do something like that. And two, like, you still have the Westbrook LeBron issue. Like, it's not AD and Westbrook, it's Westbrook and LeBron are both just the same players. So you're kind of in the same boat. Although, like I said, you could just ride out the season and maybe you win a championship and then Kyrie just comes and joins KD and LeBron next season. It's a possibility. But I don't think it would ever happen. Never say never, though. But, yo, what's good? What is going on, Lake Show Broco? Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Speedy, what is going on, Speedy? Thanks for popping in here. Thank you. LeBron's not leaving. Yeah, he's not. We don't have to worry about it. He's just, it makes no sense. He doesn't have to sign anything until June 30th, I believe, is the deadline for him to sign the extension. I don't think he signs the extension regardless. I think he very likely just runs out the season and then kind of sees what happens. That's most likely the case. I don't think he's signing until June, perhaps at a discount. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts too. I'm not saying he will take it. He's only going to take a discount if it's the right deal. Like if Kyrie comes and they need to, if LeBron has to take like 10 million less to sign Kyrie, LeBron will do it. I mean, he's taken pay cuts in the past, because like I've seen people say like, oh, LeBron would never take a pay cut, stuff like that. Like he's done it. He's done it on several occasions. He did it to create the Miami Big Three. All three of them did. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James all took pay cuts so they could all play together. So LeBron's not against taking pay cuts. He's not going to take like $1 million deal. Like he's not going to do the Jordan route, take $1 million and, go to Washington. Like he's not going to do that, but he's not even going to take like a vet minimum, or a taxpayer exception, like nothing like that. He's still going to get 20 plus million a year. LeBron will not take a pay cut, as some people are suggesting, but he's shown that's the problem, though, is what I'm saying, Speedy. Is like he has shown in the past he will take a pay cut if he believes that it's enough to win. He's taken pay cuts before, like we know that. I mean, he took a pay cut so Miami could do it. He took less than everybody. He took less money than both Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh so that could work. LeBron's not against taking pay cuts. So we'll see. Salute, bro. Bron staying, like I've been saying. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. LeBron signing for the max. He can get maybe a pinch below. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all depends on what the circumstances are. Like LeBron's not going to take a pay cut if the Lakers can't go get anybody else. But like I said, if like say we don't get Kyrie this year, and the Kyrie wants to sign next year, and say they did the Miles Turner and Buddy Hield trade, right? LeBron would have to take depending on how all the contracts go. If you want to keep just Kyrie, you probably got to take about a $5 to $7 million pay cut. If you want to keep both Miles Turner and Kyrie, then you're probably taking like a $20 million pay cut. But I just think it depends on where are we at that time. But I mean, we'll know. I mean, if LeBron signs an extension tomorrow, well, then there's your answer. But I don't think he will. I really don't. I just, all signs point to him not. LeBron will sign for the absolute max, not a penny less. He already feels that he's underpaid. I mean, he's never said that in his career. And like I said, he has shown that he will take pay cuts. If LeBron had never taken a pay cut in his career, then yeah, maybe you could say that. If LeBron had never, if every time he's gotten the most money possible, then yeah, he's done that. Then I could see that argument. But he's taken a pay cut ever since he left the previous Cavaliers team. He wants to win. That's all he cares about. He's not like a lot of people. We love Kobe, but a lot of people were killing Kobe for trying for not making something work and taking a pay cut. He got the absolute top dollar, and the reason the Lakers gave him that money was because of the reason we got LeBron. It shows the loyalty. It shows the connection. It shows that we stand by our stars no matter what, and that's a big difference. But Kobe should have taken a pay cut back then. Everyone was talking about it, and it was a big thing, and people were going after Kobe for that. LeBron will take a pay cut if he has to. It's just how it is. If that was the case, he would sign right now. I mean, yeah, that's another way to look at it, definitely. James Harden signed for less because the Sixers had to give up a few players to get him. He was paying the Sixers back. No, he told you. James Harden told you why he took a pay cut. It's literally what he said. He was like, I took a pay cut so they could go get other players. That's all it was. What players could he get to give me a thing? It wasn't because he was like, oh, I want to do you a service. He didn't. I mean, he could have easily kept the money. He wouldn't have had to take a pay cut that much. They could have just signed like Daniel House and stuff, and then there you go. But no, he wanted PJ Tucker. He wanted Daniel House. He was like, how much do I need to take for you to go get those players? And he took the pay cut so they could go get those players. That's why they're looking into tampering. he doesn't sign right now to keep his leverage, but he doesn't have leverage. Like, what's the leverage? Like, what is the leverage? What is going on, Austin? I appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here. Are you still 70%? Absolutely. Has not changed until something drastic changes. Like, it's just, there's no point in changing it. Yeah. Even if we keep Russ and he does good, we still not a title contender, sadly. Yeah, I don't think so either. I always say you can't rule out a healthy LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis is playing dominant basketball and he's playing at like an MVP level, like he was in the bubble, and LeBron is being LeBron, and they can just get Westbrook serviceable. Like, he doesn't have to be, a superstar or a star or anything. If they can just get him to be a guy that can give you, 20 a game consistently, then I wouldn't rule them out. I mean, nobody in the West is that good. Nobody in the West is so good. You're like, yeah, the Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis have no chance. Like, nobody is the Warriors with Kevin Durant. So I definitely at least give them a puncher's chance if they get into the playoffs and keep Russ. But yeah, I don't think they're contenders, if I'm being honest, like just at first glance. I honestly don't think we'll see KD and Kyrie get traded. They're too big of names to get a realistic offer, at least Durant. I mean, I can absolutely see Kevin Durant be staying, and that's kind of what this conversation is probably how it's probably going to go based on just like reports that people are saying. The Nets want Kevin Durant to rescind his trade exception or this trade request. They're holding out hope that he might change his mind. So this conversation is very likely going to be, what will it take for you to change your mind and stay here? Now, if Kevin Durant says nothing, I want out, I think we might see Kevin Durant get traded. I think we very likely could see the Boston Celtics talk start ramping up again, because Boston's got to make a decision with Jaylen Brown also. I'm not saying Jaylen Brown will leave, but he's not going to sign an extension because it's less money. And two, he's not happy that you were including him in trade discussions. So next year, he is, after this upcoming season, he is an expiring deal that could leave you. And who's to say Kevin Durant is still on the table? So if you're Boston, you're probably hoping that Kevin Durant says, no, I want you to keep me. So I think depending on how that conversation goes, we'll know a lot more. We'll know, like, if KD ends up getting traded, and if KD gets traded, I still think Kyrie likely gets traded regardless. But again, it depends on the conversation, right? Like, if KD says, hey, look, I'll stay with you for a year, I need you to keep Kyrie this year, then the Nets might say, okay, they might write it out for a year. But even if Kevin Durant does say, you know what, I'll stay, but I want you to trade Kyrie, then Kyrie's gone, or if he's kind of like, look, do whatever you want to do, recoup your assets, whatever, I'll give you another year. Like, then Kyrie's probably gone. I think the only way Kyrie stays on this roster is if Kevin Durant says, I'll stay for the rest of this season, ride it out with you, and I want you to keep Kyrie. But if he's kind of up in the air with it, I think they trade Kyrie. Just because it's just the Nets don't want anything to do with Kyrie Irving. And if they can kind of have Kevin Durant on board with trading Kyrie, not saying that he'd be happy about it, but it's just kind of like, whatever you guys want to do, I understand, if he leaves you, you have no assets. So if you need to trade him in order to recoup something, go ahead. Then I think if they get the green light, I think Kyrie's gone. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. LeBron James, we should deal in reality. I mean, we are. LeBron's shown repeatedly in the past he will take pay cuts. What is going on, Brian Cruz? Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Taking a pay cut makes a bad president and would allow other owners to lowball other stars, which LeBron has already said he won't do. But LeBron's taken pay cuts in the past. I'm not talking about LeBron taking a veteran minimum. He's not going to do that. He's not going to take a taxpayer exception deal. He's not going to do something like that, but he'll take a pay cut. I mean, Dirk's done it. Duncan's done it. James Harden just did it. We've seen lots of stars at the end of their career do this very thing. Take a small pay. Dirk took like $10 million a year when he could have gotten like $40 million. Like, we've seen players at this stage of their careers do that very thing. Michael Jordan took $1 million. That's it. He was paid $1 million to play on the Washington Wizards because he wanted them to be able to build that team and pay his guys and Kwame Brown, stuff like that. Like, he took $1 million. Like, so there's time and time again, we have seen stars, when they get to the tail end of their career, take pay cuts. We have also seen LeBron take pay cuts in the past. He took a pay cut with Miami. I believe he took a slight pay cut with the Cavs. Like, he's taken pay cuts pretty much everywhere he's gone. So we have history, and we have LeBron James proving that he has taken pay cuts. Why would LeBron sign an extension when he wants to play with Bronny? No way in hell. Bronny ends up with the Lakers. Well, it's not. I mean, his extension is only 2 years. So his 2-year extension actually would end when Bronny is eligible. So even if he signed an extension, it would still be over he's not signing like a 4 to 6 year extension, something crazy like that. He's not signing, a 5-year deal. He's signing 2 year. It's a 2-year, like $97 million extension. Is what he qualifies for. So, and when that contract would be up, if he were to sign that extension, then that's when Bronny is eligible. So he'd still be able to leave, even if he signs the extension. I don't think Bronny good enough to come straight out of high school. I don't think he's going to be drafted for the sole purpose of a team who drafts him to get LeBron. Yeah, you have to be a certain age now is like the criteria. It's not like how it used to be where you could just be drafted straight out of high school, like Kevin Garnett, Kobe, LeBron, guys like that. But Bronny probably won't go to a college. He'll probably go to, one of those pay to play places where they pay their players and stuff. Or he'll go to like the G League or something. We've seen a lot of like star players do that. So Bronny will probably do that. Bronny's had a pretty solid year so far. So, he's kind of stepping into the player many people thought he could potentially be, but I don't think any team is like, that's the sole purpose of drafting Bronny. Although I think that is probably part of the conversation, because any team that likely is drafting Bronny is not a contending team. So at that point, you're just playing to play and try to make money in ticket sales. And the money that you would make as a franchise to have LeBron James and Bronny on your team, absolutely. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Bronny was drafted by a team that kind of just like, we're kind of in the middle of the pack. Like, I don't think Bronny's going to be like a top 5 pick, at least at this point, depending on how he improves. But I just think very likely he's probably going to be top 10, but it'll probably be like I said, a middle of the pack team. Let's say the Spurs, right? Let's say they go get like Victor, right? And then they're like, we got like 2 firsts, we got like the 7th pick, and we got I'm not saying that this would happen. I'm just throwing out an example. But let's say they're like, we have the 7th pick and we have the 9th pick in this year's draft, right? So they draft their guy at number 7, and then they say, we're going to draft Bronny. If he turns out to be great. If he doesn't, then, we lost the 9th pick, but we're going to make $100 million that year on just merch and brand deals. And it's just, there's so much more beyond basketball that you'd get for that. But probably a year or 2 in college. Yeah, he's definitely going to play a couple seasons, or at least a season. Pay it in Miami wasn't that much. He already said he won't take a pay cut, allowing the owners to lowball stars. He said he won't take a significant pay cut. He's not going to, like I said, he's not going to take a $3 million deal. He's not going to do something like that. But to go from, say $30 million a year, he might take $25 million a year. So that way they could go get guys. He's not going to take, $10 million, something like that. That's the difference. What makes Tom Brady so good is that he takes a lot of pay cuts to get the players around him. I don't think LeBron will take a big enough pay cut. He'd take no less than $30 million, I think. Yeah, but it's still $17 million or something like that the Lakers would have every year to go get somebody else. So, it's still a pretty significant pay cut, even if he took $30 million. Like, I don't think he'd probably take less than $30 million, but I think if he had to, he'd go down to 25. I really do. I think it just, again, it's all predicated on where are they and who is available. Like I said, if the Lakers go and trade for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, and the Lakers are really good, and Kyrie's like I still want to come to LA. I could see LeBron taking a significant pay cut. I could see him taking what he needs to make that work. Because at that point, all he's chasing is rings, and as long as he doesn't take, a $2 million deal or something like that, nobody's going to question it. Many, many players have done it. LeBron's done it in the past. I mean, not like 20 million, but I think he took like 8 million or something like that, or 5 million, somewhere around there. I know it was a couple million. All of them did. And he took less than Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. So he's taken pay cuts before in the past. Warriors would still beat them in 7, in my opinion. I mean, depending on who's on the team. Depends on where the Warriors are. They're only getting older. Can't believe I thought those Lakers last year were going to win the chip. Yeah, I mean, they look good on paper. For being honest, they did. They looked good on paper. They just they weren't very. It just didn't work well. I mean, they were too old. Injuries hurt. I still think if LeBron James and Anthony Davis didn't miss like 70 games combined or whatever it was, I still think the Lakers would have at least made the playoffs. I just think that by the time everyone came back and was healthy, it was too late. Lake Show, we are all in the boat. Although I couldn't believe that they traded for us. Yeah. I mean, everybody knew that wasn't going to work. Lakers need Kyrie. Side note, I know Boyd. Oh yeah, well, first off, yeah, I agree that they do need Kyrie. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. If they can actually get him this year, or if they have to wait till next year, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that still need to unfold if you're the Lakers. So it is. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all shapes up. Yeah, I was looking more towards DeMar during the offseason. I mean, DeMar DeRozan himself said that he thought he was going to the Lakers. He thought he was going to the Lakers. Buddy Hield was supposed to be traded. All of that. It sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Kyrie not coming. LeBron ain't taking a pay cut. I mean, we'll see. Hey, you might be right, but history tells me otherwise. Like I said, you might be right, but we'll find out. One of us will be right. Like I said, it depends on what is available. He only took a pay cut and vowed that he would never do it again. He took a pay cut in Cleveland. Didn't he take like $3 million less so that way they could make the deal work for Kevin Love? Isn't that so? What do you mean? If I'm not mistaken, he's taken pay cuts with every team he's been on. How many? Yeah. So LeBron took it was $5 million that LeBron took on 50 million on the table together. Bosh 5 flat 14 million. Non-eligible. Yeah. So LeBron basically left $5 million on the table for Miami. That's the Miami thing. Where's the Cleveland thing? Let me see if I can find the Cleveland thing real quick without having to dig through the internet because it's old. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he took yeah, so LeBron's taken 4 pay cuts during his career. Yeah, so LeBron's like I said, he's taken a pay cut 4 times. When you look up how many times has LeBron James taken a pay cut, the very first thing that comes up is 4. It says LeBron James wants to win, but winning with the current roster is almost possible, especially since many other teams have improved. The 4-time MVP took a pay cut when he signed with Miami back in 2021 and took another chance. Again, how much can LeBron with the extension? Skip Bayless. So, I mean, LeBron's taken a pay cut on 4 separate occasions. Yeah, so there you go. There's your answer. LeBron has taken pay cuts. Again, honestly, Bronny stinks. Bryce is the talent. I mean, Bryce is probably going to be the best player, but Bronny doesn't stink. He's still pretty solid, and he's having a really good year. No way in hell Bronny is in the top 10. Have you seen the talent for that year? He's probably. I mean, he might be a top 5 pick just because of there's only 3 guys that are like surefire guys that year, or that people believe are surefire guys that year. And like I said, there's a lot of things that go into Bronny beyond just him being drafted. Mavs might be a sleeper title contender. I really like the Mavs this year. I mean, I still don't think they're a contender. I still think there's like 5 or 6 teams that are better than them. But, a roll of the dice, or, a thing or two to go your way. I mean, we can see. I mean, the Suns had it happen for them and they were in the finals. So, I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. Okay, $3 million less isn't anything to LeBron. Yeah, like I said, it all boils down to circumstance. I'm not saying undoubtedly that LeBron's going to take a pay cut, but he is a guy that if he needs to, or he feels like taking a pay cut will put me in the best position to win, he absolutely could take a pay cut. He absolutely will take a pay cut. Like I said, he's taken pay cuts 4 separate times. Not take a pay cut in Cleveland. I'm pretty sure, like I said, he's taken it 4 separate times. So, and he was on a long-term deal with Miami. So, is it Genie Bus who is not making the trade for Kyrie? No, I mean, it's the Kyrie trade is predicated on KD. Like, what's going to happen with KD? The Nets are still waiting on that decision. They're supposed to meet this year to talk, or not this year, this week. Sorry, they're supposed to meet this week to talk and figure out what they're going to do, and then we should probably get some answers at that point. And hopefully, the answers are good answers. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Which team will surprise more healthy? Nuggets or Pelicans? I like the Pelicans more, to be honest. I really do. There's a lot of questions with the Pelicans, I feel, primarily around Zion. Like, what Zion will we see? How good will Zion be? But I really like the Pelicans roster. I think they all fit pretty well. Nuggets are really good. Don't get me wrong. They made some nice defensive moves. Got some nice 3-and-D guys. There's a lot of questions with Michael Porter Jr., but if he can kind of stay healthy and he can kind of be that guy, I could see him being like their third guy. Jamal Murray, if he could stay healthy. Nuggets, I think, are going to be a good team this year. I don't know. I feel like the Nuggets are more one-dimensional, where I think the Pelicans, they have more options on ways to kind of attack you and go at you in different play sets and stuff like that. I think the Pelicans just have overall more options, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'd have to go with the Pelicans. Bronny is going in the lottery just based on his potential. He's freaking LeBron's son. I think so too. I think he at least, I don't think he's going to be like a top 3 pick or anything like that, unless he just has like an amazing next 2 years or whatever, then possibly. But I think very likely he's going to end up being, he'll be top 10, but it'll probably be closer to the 10 than the 1, if I had to guess, unless the team just takes a flyer on him. Like I said, don't be shocked if 2 years from now a team drafts Bronny on like the idea of like LeBron's coming, and depending on how good he is, like we might be like half decent, but more for the sells. Like, teams are going to have an incentive just financially. Ownership is going to have incentive financially. And depending on what teams are in the lottery at that time, there are some owners that only care about financially. They don't care about good teams, this, that, and the other. They only care about what will make me the most money. So I could see an owner telling their GM, like, you need to draft Bronny James. Like, oh, but we got this guy at number 7. I don't care. You're going to draft Bronny James, or it's your job. Like, I could see that happening. Absolutely. You are considering leaving and signing with another team a pay cut. It's not a pay cut. It's the most that the new team can pay. No, he had to take a couple million less to make the Kevin Love deal work, because they didn't have the money to do, because they swapped Kevin Love for Andrew Wiggins. Like, the money didn't match. LeBron took like, it wasn't a lot. I think it was only like a couple million. It was like 2 or 3 million, like I said, for him to do that. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but I just Googled it. The first thing that pops up says LeBron has taken a pay cut 4 times, and I'm pretty sure he took a pay cut with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here, let's try again. But regardless, even if he didn't take a pay cut with the Cavs, he's still he took oh wait, no, that's never mind. That's something else. Let's see. Yes, LeBron James didn't sign a full max deal with Cleveland. Instead, opted for a 1-year pact. See, he took a pay cut. He could have gotten more money, but decided to take less to make the Kevin Love deal work out, and he wanted the 1+1s and stuff. That's what I'm saying. He's taken a pay cut at every place he's gone to. He's not against taking a pay cut. The power of Google. Zion's extension was actually smart. The weight and injury clauses will definitely help him. Yeah. And it's funny because like people are questioning like, oh, will Zion be able to, like, is that a way to get financial flexibility? Like, no, that's not how it works. It's actually a way for the Pelicans to cut him if they need to, because only so much of his money is guaranteed. And if he at any point goes over and they're like, so if he gets injured again and balloons to like 330 pounds and he's not athletic and he can't really play anymore or anything like that, the reason the Pelicans made this deal was so that way they could get out of his contract. So that's why it actually has the extensions and stuff like that, because they wanted an out. They wanted a way to get out from under the deal if need be. Did we get Kyrie Irving? Yes or no, or not yet? No, not yet. This week, the Nets and Kevin Durant are supposed to sit down and talk, and we should hopefully hear some more in regards to that. I briefly brushed over this stuff. I'll put a video together on my main channel as it stands about like the updates that came out today. But to kind of paraphrase, conflicting reports again. One report said that Kyrie's destination is still the Lakers. Still wants to go to Lakers. That was per The Athletic, I believe, off the top of my head. And then there was another report from a New York Knicks insider. Again, a New York Knicks insider that said that Kyrie is in a good position if he has to stay with the Nets. Whatever that is. But real quick, before we continue with this conversation, hit that like button, everyone. If you haven't hit that like button, it really does help out the stream now and after the stream. Got 100 of you beautiful people. If I could get 100 likes on this video, that'd be amazing. And also subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help out this channel. And we are at 1327. Can I get at least to 1350? We got 100 of you beautiful people in this stream. So yes, like I said, like the video, subscribe to this channel. Help me get to at least 1350. That'd be nice. It's only 23 that's only a quarter of you beautiful people. Are we getting Kyrie or what? We won't know until we won't know one way or another until the Kevin Durant conversation. Kevin Durant hasn't, as far as we know, hasn't met with the Nets yet, which I figured it'd probably be this weekend. So it'll likely be tomorrow or Saturday, most likely. And then I expect by like Monday, we'll start hearing like some new reports and updates and this, that, and the other. And hopefully they're good. Hopefully they're in the Lakers' favor. I'm tired of hearing this. I feel it. Who do you think is better, Bronny or Bryce? I think Bryce has the most potential, if I'm being honest, just because, I mean, he's already 6'6". So he could end up being a 7-foot LeBron James, which is scary because I mean, not like LeBron's like 6'5" or anything. I mean, the dude's 6'9". So his genes are definitely stepping up. I do think that they both have a lot of potential. They're still so young, I mean, but Bryce just turned 15, like a month ago or a couple months ago, something like that. So he's very likely going to be my money would be on him, is basically my point. My money would be on Bryce, kind of ending up being the better of the two. Not just that, but I mean, he's already got a skill set refined, and you usually see that. Usually, the younger brother is the better brother, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's one of those things. Congrats on passing 1,300 subscribers. Well, thank you so much. I know it's been an incredible journey here on SN's Lakers. I was able to get this to 1,300 really quick, like within like a month, if that, which is wonderful, and I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful. Still have, as it stands, the home channel, the mother channel, I guess, and that's still doing good. That's at like 4,300 or something like that. So hopefully by the end of the year we can get that channel to 10K. I think that's a possibility. We still got a couple months, and if we can get this channel to like 5K by the end of the year, that'd be awesome. It's kind of my goal for this channel. Get it to 5K. Which I assume will probably help also. One, if Kyrie goes to the Lakers, I'm sure that'll help a lot. But two, once we actually get into the season and I can do like live streams and real time things like that. Do you play basketball? Not as much anymore. Just don't have a lot of time to do it anymore. When I can, yeah, absolutely, I love it. I played basketball my whole life growing up. Played in all the. I mean, we didn't have like the AAU like it was today, like it is today. So I mean, we played in like AAU leagues and like prep leagues were like a big thing when I was younger. You play in a prep league and it like preps you and gets you ready for college. My prep league coach for like years was like what's his first name? His last name's Fisher. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. Maybe it might have been something like common, like Daniel. But anyway, he was like the assistant coach for UCLA for a couple of years, stuff like that. Like those were like the prep leagues. Like you get the prep leagues where you get like the college level coach and stuff. Like you work out, stuff like that. Like the AAU thing wasn't as big as it is today. If we keep Westbrook, we still need one or two shooters on this roster. Terrence Ross, Eric Gordon, etc., or maybe trade THT in a first for some of these. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need some more shooters. I mean, we do, like, I'm not opposed to just re-signing Melo, because, I mean, like Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield, like those guys, they're not going to give you any defense anyway. So what's the difference to get Melo? At least Melo, you don't have to give up any assets to get. You could just sign him outright. I'm not against giving Cole Swider an opportunity to try to make the roster and be a rotation guy if we need 3-point shooting. I definitely think we have options. It's just, it's going to be interesting to see. But we definitely need at least preferably two shooters. Because even if we get one, even if that shooter is like 43%, like unless you're keeping them on the court, 40 minutes a game, it still doesn't really help. We don't have a lot of great shooting in general. I'm a Laker fan. Big on we need Kyrie or else I'm disappointed. I'm not watching Westbrook shot. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the grand prize. Go get Russell Westbrook and hopefully, or go get Kyrie Irving, get rid of Russell Westbrook. Hopefully it works out that way. I really do. Like I said, I'm still pretty confident Kyrie ends up on the Lakers this year. And I could be wrong. I mean, I like I said, I don't like to talk definitives, because nothing's guaranteed. But I just think that at this point, unless Kevin Durant in the meeting with Joe Tsai says, I need you to trade, I need you to keep Kyrie Irving. Like, I'll write it out this year, but you're keeping Kyrie Irving, then I think that's the only way he stays this year. But I don't think Kevin Durant's going to say that. But who knows? I'm not Kevin Durant. Melo is slow. He is absolutely slow. But it's not like Buddy Hield is, locking people up or anything. Like I said, if all you're looking for is just a sole 3-point shooter, I think you kind of, I'd rather do that than go trade and take on Buddy Hield's $22 million a year contract. I'm not losing hope if we can get Kyrie. Hope Rob still has a plan and still trades Westbrook. I'll pick the Indiana and Utah trade just to move on with Westbrook. So, yeah, I mean, I like I said, I still think Kyrie's on the table. I mean, we haven't heard otherwise. I mean, even in the reports that are like Nets favored, like, that are clearly like in the net side, it doesn't say Kyrie's staying. It just says that like if he does end up staying, he's okay with it. Like, so, but I do think Rob does the trade one way or another. I think he's just waiting to see what happens with Kyrie, but I think eventually it's going to happen. Like I've been saying, like the Lakers don't need to make a trade because there's nothing to all the trades are based on another domino falling. Like the Utah deal and the Knicks deal are based on Donovan Mitchell getting traded. The Kyrie deal might be based on Kevin Durant. What happens with him and what does he want? The only deal that is on the table, supposedly, is the Indiana trade. But that trade isn't going anywhere. Like, no teams are knocking on the door for Buddy Hield. No teams are knocking on the door for Miles Turner. And it's not because they're not good players. It's just like, one, Buddy Hield's on a bad contract. And, look at what happened with Duncan Robinson. Unless he's shooting lights out, he's not worth that money. And Miles Turner, he's an expiring contract. So who's going to go and try to trade for a guy that might just leave you? So I think that's what it is. But I do think eventually we will see a trade from the Lakers. I do think Rob has a plan. I think he does have things in place. But it's just let everything unfold. Let the cards fold where they may. Good late afternoon. What is going on, Kenneth? Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and everyone popping in here. Thank you so much. If you're just popping in here, don't forget to subscribe. We got 120 of you beautiful people. If you're not subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to like this video. It really does help. It helps during the stream and it helps after the stream. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that fun stuff. I want Kyrie. I'm with you. We need him. Hopefully we will. We should have kept the 2020 roster, to be honest. I mean, I don't knock Rob for trying to improve us as a team. Hindsight is always 2020, but one, we were very likely an Anthony Davis injury away from beating the Suns and being in the finals again. And two, everyone was praising Rob Pelinka. I mean, execs, the NBA, players, LeBron, us fans, we were all talking about how great Rob just did. You won a championship and you didn't stand pat. You upgraded. You got the two 6 men of the year on your team. You upgraded several positions. It looked good. And we had most of the guys from 2020. We didn't lose our core, which is why many people thought this is great. We got this team. But I just think the turnaround, the quick turnaround really hurt. Because the Lakers went from being being in the finals to 2 months later starting the season again, or 3 months, whatever it was. It was our turnaround. And all the teams that made a deep run in the bubble, we saw all got hurt. And they all were even Miami got eliminated in the first round. It's just how it is. So Lakers need you. You're a good 3-point shooter. I don't know, maybe not so much anymore. At one point I was pretty decent. I mean, I was never like a star or anything. I wasn't anybody important. But no, I had a pretty nice shot. I had a pretty nice game when I was younger. Now I'm dad bod, got 5 kids, do YouTube and work all day. So probably not. But shoot. So never know. Maybe, just maybe. So rumor has it that Kyrie is staying. So what should the Lakers focus on? There was a report. It didn't say that he was staying. It said that if he was to stay, he's okay with it essentially, and that he would be willing to write it out basically. But the source is a New York Knicks reporter. So it's coming from somebody from New York, but from the Athletic, a real credible source that usually isn't one side or the other. I mean, sometimes they can be, but they reported that Kyrie still has the Lakers as his number one destination if he leaves the Nets, assuming they trade him. But if he ends up becoming a free agent, he's going to Lakers. So again, everything's kind of still intact. Mark Cuban said that he's going to draft Bronny, so LeBron will go to Dallas for a year. Mark Cuban seems like the guy that would do that. I wouldn't doubt it at all. It just depends. But the problem is with saying that too is that Bronny's probably not going to be there when Dallas is ready to draft. I mean, I at least hope not, because Bronny's probably going to go top 10. And there will be a team that'll take a shot on him, just to get LeBron. They reported today that the source close to Kyrie says that Kyrie is in a good place with the Nets. Yeah. And that source was a Knicks reporter. So again, we always got to look at where it's coming from. I'm not saying it's not true, but we got a report from The Athletic that was an unbiased report that said Kyrie's still going to the Lakers if he is to leave the net. So just something to keep in mind. I like the fact that Russ's contract comes out the books next year. It could be a reason to keep Russ and his bricks. Yeah, I do too. Like I've talked about it on multitude of occasions. Like, look, if our worst case scenario is we're stuck with Russell Westbrook and we can't move off of him, that's not a terrible position to be in because we're going to have a lot of money next season. Whether LeBron stays or not, which again, I don't think LeBron's going anywhere. But even if he did, we'd have like $100 million to spend and we'd still have Anthony Davis. So I'm not really worried about it. Not a lot of teams can combine enough contracts to reach Buddy and Miles' contract and still be competitive. Exactly. The money, things like that. Not just that, but there's concerns with Miles Turner. Miles Turner, he could just leave you. It's like, are you really going to trade for him? And if it doesn't work out, just too much. Like the Indiana Pacers deal isn't going anywhere. So the Lakers don't need to hurry up and run to the door to go do that deal. They're doing the right thing, staying patient, see what develops, let the cards fold where they may, and let's make a decision when the time's right. Has Frank Vogel gotten hired yet? He definitely should because that atrocious year wasn't completely his fault. Yes, no, he hasn't. Nobody's even talked about hiring him, at least from what I've seen. That year was a pretty bad year. But problem is, it wasn't solely Frank Vogel's fault. But Frank Vogel did him no favor. He did himself no favors. And teams noticed that. Like he's not even getting assistant job offer, stuff like that, because it was bad for him last year. And it don't get me wrong, it was the players, but it wasn't just the players. He made a bunch of terrible rotations, never made adjustments, never made change. Like we saw how badly we needed Jason Kidd last year. I don't know why y'all Laker fans keep hating on Russ. He's gonna have a bounce back year for. I've been a very vocal defender of Russell Westbrook. I just don't think he fits on the Lakers. I think he's very likely going to get traded. He's going to get bought out. And I think he should go back to the Wizards because the Wizards could use a starting point guard, and he was great for the Wizards. But I do think wherever Westbrook ends up, I really think he's going to ball out. And I've said that on several occasions. I really think Russ is still that dude. He's not worth $47 million, but I think he's still a really good player. And I think he's going to show, like, I'm still a really good player. AD is done way past his prime, 25 to 40 pounds, too heavy, and just got married. He's slow and doesn't about his body and his breakdown. I mean, we'll see. Based on all the reports, he's ready to go. He trimmed some of the fat. He's been working out. He's been working on his shot. He's been working on everything. So I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Yep, Schroeder and Trez is still available. Do you think we can get one of them? I mean, neither of them right now makes sense. But depending on the deal we make, I could see Schroeder going to the Lakers. It just depends on which Schroeder do we get. Do we get the one that came in and was like, I'm that dude. I'm getting a max contract. I'm the guy that's going to be starting. I ain't coming off the bench this year. If we get that one that we saw in the press conference announcing the signing of him, or the trade of him, like if we get that dude, no, keep him as far away from the Lakers as possible. If we get a new, humble Schroeder that comes in and is like, look, I dropped the ball. I messed up. I don't want to be on 10 teams in 10 years. I want to find a home. You need me to come off the bench. You want me to start. You want me to alternate at times. You want me to play the 1 spot, 2 spot, whatever. All right, I'll do it. Take a vet minimum deal. Cool. I am all for that. But I don't think that happens unless we make a deal that moves off some of our guards because we're very guard heavy right now. And so it just depends. It just depends on what shapes up. Trez, I don't think he's going to come. I wouldn't mind it, especially if he's our backup, or he's like, our third option or something like that. I just think that, yeah, you already have your 2 bigs. You might end up trading for Miles Turner, so then you don't need him. And even if you don't, Anthony Davis in the playoffs is probably starting. So I don't think you end up getting both, but I think Schroeder is a potential possibility if he accepts his role. If he's a guy that's willing to come in and do the right thing. 5 kids couldn't do it. Yes, 5 kids. It is. It's an adventure, believe me. Every day. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. LeBron will take a pay cut to play with Bronny. Yeah, I mean, at that point, he's probably taking like a vet deal. It's just like that would be more of like a gimmick thing than I'm trying to win. Like he's not like at that point, he's probably not trying to win championships. He's just trying to, he just wants to go play with the son for a year. Is basically what that boils down to. As Laker fans, should we be worried about the Clippers winning next season? I do. I mean, here's the thing though. I don't believe in the Celtics until they prove otherwise. Because every year for the last like 10 years, it seems like this year is the Clippers year, right? I mean, with Lob City, every year it was the year that they were going to win the championship. Now we're seeing this with the Clippers now, with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Every year is their year. I definitely think they have the best team on paper. My problem is that are the Clippers going to clip themselves like they usually do? And even if they don't, like, can they stay healthy? Can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both stay healthy? Because if they can't, then no, they're again, they're the same team they were last year, which turned out not to be a playoff team. So will LeBron put pressure on the Lakers to trade Russ? I don't think they really have to. I don't think he really has to. I think that they're trading Russ regardless, personally. I don't think that that's of concern for them. But I'm sure there's part of it that's like, hey, I hate on Westbrook because it's funny, but in all seriousness, he's still a good player. Yeah, he is. I still think he has potential to ball out. He just needs the right team and the right fit. Problem is right now he's just in a very bad spot. He's a very bad sticky point. Tyler Hero was sixth man of the year, but Pat Riley doesn't think he is worth giving an extension. His salary is around $5.7 million. 2023 restricted free agent. I would love landing Hero. No cap space in Miami in 2023. Yeah, so I even threw out a deal, and that I thought was interesting. We actually talked about it on one of the live streams. I don't remember if it was this live stream or the As It Stands live stream, but I made a video on As It Stands about the Lakers maybe even potentially trading it because it actually would make sense for both teams. Tyler Hero and well, the point I brought that up is that like a lot of like Miami fans obviously commented on that video, and they all, of course, acted like Tyler Hero's the next Michael Jordan. But beyond that, like they failed to realize that Tyler Hero might not be on their roster in the next couple years. like it's just reality because he wants to start. Pat Riley told him to his face, "You're not starting unless you become a two-way player," which I don't think he's going to be. Like, and he's not a guy you build your team around. Tyler Hero is either the best sixth man in the league, or he's your like third option. Maybe he could be a second option if your first option is a guy like Luka, who's just so great. He's basically a 1 and 2 option. Like if you get something like that, then yeah, I could see Tyler Hero. But I just think at some point they're gonna have to move him, or because Pat Riley doesn't want to pay him. And he's not going to not want a max extension. And some team is going to offer him a max extension when he's a restricted free agent. So, like, what are you going to do? Like, I just don't see it. Please no, I don't want Dennis. I'm not big on Dennis either. But like I said, if he's willing to come in, be humble, and buy into the role that is given to him, I'm not completely against it. I'm not right now. Like I said, it depends on what deals we make, what players we end up with, stuff like that. When Schroeder accepts his role, he won sixth man of the year. Exactly. And I think he could be that guy again. Maybe not win sixth man of the year, but at least be like a guy in the discussion. Because he's still a solid guy. He still plays really good defense. He's still a little gnat defensively, and he can still score. He still put the ball in the hoop. I mean, he had some great games for Houston towards the end of the season. I'm a big Russ fan, but watching last season and him getting booed by fans, I think it's time to move on from him. No hate. Yeah, it's just a bad fit, and sometimes it happens. We've seen teams put together, a group of stars, and it just doesn't work, and that's what happened here. Like it didn't work, and I don't think it's anything against Russ. I mean, it doesn't work. He needs to move on. He needs to find a different team, and I do believe whatever team he lands on, I really think he's going to have success on. Russ is a very specific player is the thing. So when will AD step up and be the number one scorer option? We need Batman AD on offense and defense. Hopefully it's this season. I mean, that's kind of been the thing we've been hoping for every year since we got him. In the bubble, he was Batman AD. So hopefully hopefully this season he kind of comes around and decides like, okay, I'm going to be that guy this year. And we see that MVP level. So I don't know, wait and see. But I mean, based on history, it's shown not. Um, do you think Kyrie would play with Dennis? Didn't Kyrie get mad at him calling him the N-word when he was playing with them and he got ejected? I mean, yeah, but it's a minor thing. You know what I mean? Like they're only going to care about winning, you know. And like I said, Schroeder was a guy that thought he was the best player in the league, and he got humbled very fast. And that is something that can change your perspective and cause you to buy it. That's just kind of how it goes. So yeah, haha, Flippers always the team to watch, but always be watched eliminated in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, look, as much as it pains me to say, on paper they are the best team in the NBA. They really are. I just don't, until you can prove to me that you can be that team that with all your talent can go get to the playoffs and win and then win a finals. I can't buy it. I just don't. Clippers like Molas. When is KD meeting with Zion? I mean, we have no official like date, so we don't know for sure. But I'd imagine probably tomorrow or sometime this week. It said this week, so it's got to be tomorrow or sometime this week. Football is back. Yes, I know. I cannot wait. I'm actually going to wrap up the stream in a few minutes because I want to watch some of the game, get some stuff done, get some food, all of that jazz. But yeah, I cannot wait. It's preseason right now, but still, nonetheless, Kawhi is criticized for load management. Is it fair, or does he have the right to sit games when hurt and needs recovery? I mean, everybody does it. All the players do it nowadays. The problem has been not that he load manages, but it's more so that he's been, it's happened several times where doctors, even his own physician, will say, yeah, you can play, and he doesn't because he wants that extra time, and then he comes back and then he gets hurt again. So it's kind of like this cycle. It's not so much that he like load manages, because like I said, a lot of star players nowadays do that, but it's like when you are healthy, you're still not playing, you're still load managing. So I think that that's kind of where this issue lies. But I mean, look, he has the right to do what he wants to do, and if his team doesn't have a problem with it and his team isn't calling him out and doing stuff, then hey, let him do what he wants to do. John Wall is the worst version of Westbrook, who has made of glass and played 2Ks. Yeah, exactly. 134 people in the chat. Hit that like button. Yes, we have 140 in the chat now. So yes, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'd really appreciate it. We're at 1331. Can I get to at least 1350? There's 141 of you on this stream right now. That's only 19 of you subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. It really does. It helps me out a lot. It helps me grow this channel, and it helps get this stream out to more people, even after we do the stream. So please and thank you. The Clippers have been irrelevant for years. Experiment has been a mess. It has been. I mean, there's no other word for it. It really has. It really has. It's just been rough. You think we'll see Deuce and Steph's son play against each other? That'd be crazy. I wouldn't mind it. Like, it'd be kind of cool. Like, it would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think it's a possibility. If the Flippers win, all their fans will be insufferable here in Cali, even if they're in the finals. Lose. Oh yeah, absolutely. All their fans are gonna be talking about how they run LA. Great. The Clippers could win the next 5 NBA finals, and they still wouldn't run LA. You're talking about an entire history of an organization that's spanned over decades and has won championships over those decades, to a team that, like I said, the Clippers could literally win the next 5 finals straight, and I still don't think they run LA. Can you stream the Hall of Fame game, or is it not allowed on YouTube? It's not. Like, they're kind of tricky on that stuff. Like, even the Drew League stuff. Like, I stream the Drew League games. They usually get copyright claimed, which is, it's not the bad one, but it's still bad and you get too many of them. But yeah, usually like those things like that are on TV, because like the difference is that like the Drew League is shown for free. You don't need to like subscribe. Like, you just can go to the site and get it. That's why. But this, like, it's on channel. They got ads, all that stuff. So I can't. I was thinking, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it for the first half because the game's starting right now. But I was thinking about maybe streaming me and watching the game, and we kind of just talk about football and stuff. So I won't do that here because, like I said, I want to keep this a Lakers channel. But as it stands, that's what that channel's for, right? So we could talk football, all that stuff. And by the way, just as like a call to all the subscribers and stuff that I do have on as it stands, as well as here. If you can watch my football videos, because I understand like most of my audience is basketball because it's what we've been talking about for the last thing. But I want to start getting into some football, especially now that we're in football season. They're not doing very good, which I expected. I really did. I did expect it. But if if you're a subscriber, you're a fan of mine, you like hearing me talk stuff, just go check out some of the football videos. Even if you're not big into football, just let them play. If you're in the shower, click on my football games or my football videos and just let them play. whatever it takes. I really appreciate it. It really would help me out, kind of help grow that football audience too. But I definitely, the goal, I'm still brand new, right? I mean, all of this has happened in literally the last month. The As It Stands Lakers, the channel you're on now, and the As It Stands channel both took off in like the same month. So, I understand I gotta build it up, but anything you guys can do to help is greatly appreciated. Seriously. And don't forget to subscribe here and As It Stands, either way, but thank you. Do you think the meeting with Bron and Rob included discussion about Kyrie or trades moving forward for the Lakers? I would imagine it would. I'm sure LeBron said, what is your plan? And what are we going to do here? But I imagine Rob and LeBron are in constant communication. Like, I don't think that they're not going to talk to him. Like, Rob's talked about how he runs every deal by LeBron and Anthony Davis. So I'm sure they're in conversations. Yeah. He was great with the Wizards. You should go back. Exactly. I'm with you. That's been my point. Like, they need to have him go back. Like, I think it'd be great. Later, Speedy. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here. To be fair, with the Clippers, I'd take Ty Lue 10 times against Doc. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not big on Doc. I even have like a rant video from like months ago about Doc Rivers. Like, I don't know what the appeal is to Doc Rivers. Like, I understand he's like, he's a player's coach. But he's a mediocre coach. The only thing he's ever won was with a team that probably didn't need a coach. You had Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Rondo, Ray Allen. Like, he's terrible at adjustments, terrible at lineup changes. Like, he's lost more 3-1 leads than any coach in history. I don't know. I've never really been big on Doc Rivers. I think he's a great guy, but coach-wise, the football game is delayed. Okay, good. So that gives me time to kind of blow through these questions and then wrap it up here. I'm sure trade ideas, trade updates, trade exceptions, we're giving Ron. Yeah, I'm sure that they sat and talked. The reporter is saying the earliest game will start 5:40. Okay, so cool. So I got time to eat and stuff like that. Maybe I can't. Maybe I will be able to stream the first half, or at least part of it. Like I said, I'll probably do it from my phone. So that way I'm not sitting at my computer and I can actually get comfortable and watch the game. So on As It Stands, I'll probably stream it from my phone. We'll just have a conversation, watch the game, talk smack. I've done it before and people didn't really seem to mind, so I'll probably do it again. I'll check it out. Thank you so much, Lake Show Pro. You talk fantasy on your football channel. Well, it's not a football channel. It's just a sports channel. Like, so my original channel I started was As It Stands, and I just was talking sports. All of the stuff going on with the NBA kind of took my channel at an upward trajectory just randomly. Like, I wasn't expecting it last month. But the goal when I started was to be able to talk, basketball, football, a little bit of everything. I do eventually want to branch out to other things. The reason I started the Lakers channel is because I'm a Laker fan, and, a lot of points of discussion are the Lakers, and there's just a lot of Laker fans. So, I was like, oh, it would make sense to make a Lakers channel is basically what it came down to. But I would like to do like a fantasy football channel and even like a sports betting channel at some point. I might even, because I love betting on football, so I'll probably talk about my bets on As It Stands. Give it a check it out. We'll definitely getting in some more football stuff. I need to start growing the football audience too, and in general. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. I want the Flippers fan smoking. Always, we run LA exactly. I might be going to a Seattle first game against Denver with my brother. I hope it I hope I go because that would be a story. Russ going up against former team. Yeah, if you do go, Austin, let me know how that goes. I'd love to hear about it. You think LeBron is signing the extension? Personally, no. I don't think he ever was. I think personally, he's just going to do 1+1 deals. And I think the Lakers know that. I think LeBron knew that. I think everybody. And even like a lot of like the reliable people are all coming out and kind of saying the same thing now. So, personally, Lakers not getting Kyrie. I mean, I don't know. We haven't heard anything one way or another. So don't count your chickens just yet because you never know. You never know. But what else we got? Lou is a player's coach. Doc used to be. Doc's time in the NBA is over. Yeah, I mean, Lou is definitely a player's coach. I really like Lou, and I think he's a great coach. And he makes great adjustments, stuff like that. Doc, I've never really been sold on Doc. I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think he's this all-time great historic coach that people make him out to be. I don't. Doc Rivers is a good coach, top 15 NBA coach. Are you talking all time? I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think. I think there are a lot more coaches ranked better than him. The problem is here's the thing, Doc Rivers. He's really good with the media, and he's always been known as a player's coach. And those two things really go into you being successful and being perceived better as usual. I don't. Favorite football team. So, funny story, I actually don't have a favorite football team. It's not that I absolutely love football. Like, football is my thing. Obviously, a kid from, LA, any LA team that wins, I'm all for it. But growing up, I grew up in a household with 9 people, and every single person in that household was a fan of a different team. So I just grew up loving football and just seeing everyone try to kill each other on Sundays. And so that's kind of where my passion and love for football comes from. I played football growing up as a kid, stuff like that. And it was just something that I fell in love with. And I love watching football. I love betting on football, all of that stuff. So Doc Rivers is overrated ASF. Yeah, I think he is too. I really do. I do too. I don't know. Top 15 is generous. Yeah, I personally don't think he's a top 15 coach. Every team has been very good and should be able to win a title, but he can't lead them to there. I mean, that's what I say. Like, he's always had teams that should be in the conversation for winning a championship, and yet he can never seem to get out of the second round. Like, he's not a good X's and O's adjustment type of coach. He's just not. Like, Doc Rivers is a top 15 coach all the time. I mean, hey, we all have our rankings for coaches and players and stuff, things like that. If Kyrie goes to the Lakers ball game, I'm with you. I'm with you, Killer. I'm with you. Facts. Everyone pray for Brittany Griner. Imagine we'll just go over there, just an ordinary Joe. Yeah, it's crazy. She got sentenced to 9 years today. I wanted to talk about it on the As It Stands channel, but like, the problem is it's turned into such a political thing. I just don't want to deal with it. Like, I just don't want to hear like all of the ins and outs about it. So that's why I haven't talked about it. Cause I've had people ask me like, are you going to talk about the Brittany Griner thing and stuff like that? And I would love to. I'd love to kind of give my thoughts and stuff. I just don't want to turn it into, I want it to be fun. Sports channel. Let's talk sports. Let's have fun. Let's have a good time. I mean, it is a serious and just insane situation, but there's just so much that goes into it and so many layers. It's tough to talk about it. I probably get hate for this, but Brittany Griner's situation irritates me. Yeah, it sucks, but why shouldn't she get special treatment because of her celebrity? Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel a little bit in the middle over like a little bit of both sides, but like I said, it's just one of those things that it's turned into such a political matter that it's like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. It's just like, I don't mind. I mean, Austin, you're part of Fate Decided. So I have no problem talking about my opinions or how I feel about something. I have no issues with it. It's just like, that's not what I want for this channel or the As It Stands channel. So I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that headache. Not many teams have a championship names the coach who have championship. The list is short. Yeah, I mean, It's a good point, but still, I mean, there's also a lot of great coaches that have done more with less. And if they would have gotten a championship coach, like it's one of those things. I mean, all of that stuff is all of those things are interesting. Like even Steve Kerr. Like many people put Steve Kerr as like a top 3 coach all time, but it's like, is it the team or is it him? Like because Luke Walton won like 30 straight games with that team, and look at him. Like people thought he was going to be the next best great young coach. I don't know. It's always an interesting point of discussion. I take Randall if we can't get Kyrie. Problem is he's just on such a bad. He was worse than Westbrook last year, like statistically. I don't think he's that bad, but I don't think he's the guy from 2 years ago. I think he's somewhere in the middle. I think he's serviceable. And the problem is fit for Randall. I think Randall's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Problem is where does he fit? Because Anthony Davis is playing the 4. Randall's contract is terrible. And it's just, you get what I'm saying? It's a rough situation. Like I don't know. I'm not big on it. Don coming in hot with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Seriously, means a ton. Who do you think won the offseason? Past 3 championships won off strengths of their offseason moves. Dubs, Wiggins, Bucks, Holiday, Raps, Kawhi. First off, you are absolutely correct. And it's been really interesting to see. Like these teams just and here's the thing, honestly. Like when the Dubs got Andrew Wiggins, were any of us thinking like that's the piece they need to win a championship? Like, is that's going to be their second best player in the finals and stuff? Like, I didn't, if I'm being honest. Same thing with the Bucks. Like when they got Holiday, it was like Holiday is great. Like, yeah, he's great, but that's the missing piece they need to win a championship. Obviously, the Raptors getting Kawhi, you're talking, he was like a top 3 to 5 player in the league at that time. So that makes sense. But yeah, those other 2 moves were it's awesome. I always think that's cool how like those things work out. Personally, this offseason, I don't think anybody's made a significant enough move to really change things. I will say though, my like underrated signing, I guess, is the Dallas Mavericks. I think Christian Wood is going to be really solid for them. Now, will that be enough to make them a contender? I don't think so, but they were in the Western Conference Finals, right? So maybe, but I do think Christian Wood is one of those like underrated signings. He's still young. He can get you 20 and 10 a night. He could be a great second, third option, stuff like that. How is he going to work with everybody? That'll be interesting, but I do. I think that was a really underrated signing. But nobody else has really made like huge moves. I think the Celtics, Brogdon and Gallo, I think that those were really solid deals. I do. I think that makes them better, and I do think experience makes them better. But I still think they're like the 3rd or 4th best team in the East. So it's like, yeah. Personally, just to answer the question, who do I think won the offseason? I think when we look back, Dallas might be able to. Dallas might be that team. Like Christian Wood might come out, be like a 20 to 25 point a game guy, and we're like, man, Christian Wood is really good on the Mavs, if that makes sense. But again, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do. I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. Would take Hield and Turner. I'm not against it. Like I said, if our plan B is Hield and Turner, that's a pretty good plan B. It's not like, oh man, I can't believe we're downgrading. Like, I heard that the census was needed, eliminate in order for the government to be able to do the prisoner swap. I mean, it's very likely. The sentence is predicated based on that. Like, so she had to be like sentenced. I do know that because I remember reading a report about it that she was actually going to plead guilty so that the U.S. could make the prisoner swap, because technically she hasn't been convicted. So she was going to go in, plead guilty, and then they were going to do the swap. So yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it's a messed up situation. I've thought about giving my opinion on several occasions, but it's just turned so political now. Like I want this to stay a sports channel. I want this to be fun. I want us to be able to just talk sports, even if we disagree, And, it's like, you're the worst person ever. I hate your Laker take. Like, at least it's sports. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But Lakers AD, yeah. Come on, man. Steve Kerr is a great coach. Without him, they don't win as often. You can't slander the coach. I'm not slandering the coach. I didn't say he was a bad coach. I'm just saying, like, how much of him is the coach and how much of it is he has a historically great team. Like, that doesn't take away from Steve Kerr. It's not slander. That's a fact. Like the Golden State Warriors are one of the most historic teams in history, and it's been the same team for several years. That's not slander. That's the reality. Like, but all of the great coaches have had historic teams. Phil Jackson, guys like that. It's one of the things that I've always thought about. Like, how much, like, if Steve Kerr was coaching the Timberwolves right now, would we be considering Steve Kerr a top 3 all-time coach? Like, that's just something I thought about. I'm honestly sick of society. I'm considering moving to New Zealand. I mean, society's everywhere, but I do get your point. I remember Luke Walton coached the Lakers. Yeah, he did. And he was terrible. My underrated signing is Bruce Brown with the Nuggets. Gives them bench depth, and he was hardest work with the Nets against Boston. Yeah, I think that's another really good one. And KCP. I think KCP is going to be solid for them too. I just think Christian Wood could be that guy. Could be like a real significant factor. Like, I think Christian Wood could be a needle mover. Championships matter for coaches. Many coaches are good, but don't cut it. Look at Quinn Snyder. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like anything else. There's always a discussion for everything. Even players. Have you won a championship? This, that, and the other. I like your take, but the Lakers and Clippers are not missing the playoffs this year. John Wall off a buyout could be the missing piece. I don't think the Lakers or Clippers are missing the playoffs this year either. Personally, I think both of them will make it, assuming health. The Lakers would have made the playoffs last year if LeBron James and Anthony Davis didn't miss like 70 combined games. It's just how it works. So, I mean, I do. I think that they do it. Clippers, I have said, as much as it pains me as a Laker fan, the Clippers have the best team on paper in the NBA. Problem is, they always seem to historically just clip themselves. And can Anthony Davis, can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George stay healthy? They have not been able to stay healthy. So my thing is, like, I can't buy into you until you prove me otherwise. Because every time, like the last 10 years, every year is the Clippers year. From Lob City all the way to the team we have now. It's like every year, like, this is it. And there's still, a second round exit every year. It's just, but I do. I think that if the Clippers are healthy, I think they're the best team in the league. Don't think Wolves got better. I don't think the Wolves got, like, I think they got slightly better. I don't think Rudy Gobert moved the needle. That's why I didn't mention him, because I don't think he's that big of a needle mover. Like, because the problem is, like, yeah, he's the issues that. Okay, here, let's break this down for a minute. So there's a couple issues that I have with the Rudy Gobert thing. One, the issues Utah had with Rudy Gobert do not change. That's still an issue. And two, Rudy Gobert is going from the number 2 option to like the number 4 or 5 option. And he was already complaining and having issues with his touches. So, like, how much is he going to be, like, if you're in playoff games and he's touching the ball 5 times a game, how much is he going to be effective? How much is he going to buy in? How happy is he going to be? That kind of thing. Appreciate you, Don. Appreciate you. And thank you again. Thank you so much. Are we seriously talking about trading prisoners? Wolves got a big 3 now. I mean, they do. They definitely have size. I think the Wolves are going to be really good. Like, I think they're going to be a tough out. I think that they're going to be – I wouldn't be shocked if they're the 3 or 4 seed at worst this upcoming season. I just don't think they're a legitimate contender. The Phoenix Suns are going to drop in the standings this season, my prediction. I've been saying that for like months. I really think that they're going – I mean, they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to be like looking like the best team in the league. I just think they have so many problems. And they're only getting older. Chris Paul, all that stuff. I agree with you. If we make the Turner deal, we'll have to glut at the 5. Trying to understand. If we make the Turner deal, we'll have a glut at the 5. I mean, I think I'm assuming you mean like we just have too many people at the 5. Yes, but Damian Jones is never going to be more than a backup anyway. And Thomas Bryant, he's probably going to be our starter now, but Miles Turner is an upgrade over him. And Thomas Bryant becomes that much better as a backup. Anthony Davis, even if he's playing at an MVP level, he's probably missing 20 to 30 games. So, and Miles Turner is flexible too. So Miles Turner can play the 4 and the 5. He's played a lot of 4 with the Indiana Pacers. So you have that flexibility, which I think is nice. I think Christian Wood and JaVale McGee were great signings. TH Jr. is healthy. Spencer Dinwiddie and Finney have balled out. Losing Jaylen Brown isn't as bad as people think. I am 100% with you. I think the Dallas Mavericks made all the right moves this year. I think Jalen Brunson leaving is not that big of a deal. I actually think that might have been a bit of a blessing in disguise. And I do. I think that they're going to be really good. And you're going to have Tim Hardaway Jr. coming back. He's going to be healthy. I do. I think Dallas is going to be really good. I think that they're very underrated. Thomas Bryant won't start at the 5. I mean, he will right now. Out of the AFC East, who do you think will flop? Because one of the teams has to. My bet is Vegas. Yeah, I think, which is crazy to think that the worst quarterback in that division is Carr. Like, but I do. I just think that one of them is going to be on the outside looking in, and unfortunately, I think it's them. Clippers are going to somehow screw it up again. Just let people get hyped with them. Yeah, I think so too. I just until you prove me otherwise. You seriously think Clippers are on paper are better than the Warriors? Come on, yes. Have you seen the Clippers full roster? Like that roster is insane. How will they play together? I don't know. We'll see. Will it work out? I don't know. We'll see. But on paper, they are literally like 15 players deep that could all be starters on other teams. That could all be like rotation guys on other teams. The Warriors didn't even play half of their roster. So yeah, I mean, as good as Kuminga might be, they hardly played him. Like the Warriors, they only ran like 7 players. So yeah, the Clippers have the best team on paper. If Steve Kerr was coaching the Wolves, they would be a better team. If Warriors still had Mark Jackson, maybe they don't win any championships. Your comment made it seem like they win no matter the coaching. Mark Jackson would have won at least a title with that team because Mark Jackson developed and grew that team. I'm not saying that they won't win. I'm saying right now we're looking at Steve Kerr based on his accolades, based on the career he's had so far as the head coach. And the thing is that if he was on a team like the Wolves, would we be considered? I'm not saying that he wouldn't be considered a good coach. You're looking at like him not being top 3 means he's a bad coach. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he could be a very good coach still, but him being a historically great coach, how much of that is the Golden State Warriors just being an all-time great team and him just being an incredible coach? Like if he was on the Timberwolves, would we be considering him top 3? Or would we be considering him as like, hey, Steve Kerr is a really good coach, but he's not an all-time great coach yet because he hasn't proved anything. That's the difference. Gobert is more of a floor raiser for teams than a ceiling raiser. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I just don't think so. On paper, Clippers are much deeper and better, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, exactly. They are a much deeper and overall better team. But again, on paper, but chemistry, all of those things go into in order. When did D'Lo become an underrated player? He's overpaid, but he's still a good asset. I think he's a good asset too. I just think that part of it is overpaid, and he's a free agent after this season. So I think that goes into it too. Teams are looking at it as like, do we really want to pay this guy a bunch of money to, have him leave? So I think that's kind of what it is. Wolves have a big 4 for real. Yeah, they do. And man, if Anthony Edwards, if he can take his game up a notch, he said at the end of this season, people are going to be talking about him as like one of the best in the league. If he can get anywhere close to that, this team is going to be scary. I really do. I just, like I said, as far as like off-season acquisitions and moves, I just don't think Gobert was that significant. I don't think they got Gobert and it's like now they're a contender. Like that's just me personally. I hope I'm wrong about the Raiders because they're in my top 5 favorite teams, and Devontae Adams seems like a good dude, but I didn't like him because he was on the Packers. Yeah, I can understand that. I just think that, yeah, like I said, somebody's got to be out in that division, and I just think, unfortunately, the Raiders are the odd man out, which again is crazy to think about because they do have a really good team. Did you see the last news from the New York? Yeah, yes, and I'm not worried about it. We got a report from The Athletic, which I'll do a video on as it stands later tonight, kind of breaking it down more. But just to kind of summarize, we got a report from The Athletic that said Kyrie, if he does leave the Nets, his destination, his number one priority is still the Lakers. The report that came from the New York is a New York Knicks media person. So again, it's a New York report. How much of it is just like a leverage play, especially now that they're meeting with Kevin Durant, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't fully buy it, but I don't know. We'll see. You never really know. It's all just speculation at this point. Gobert cried when he missed the All-Star game. Big for nothing, one-dimensional guy going to clog the paint for Cat. Yeah, I have a lot of concerns on how well that tandem's going to work out. I don't know. I just don't buy it. I genuinely think Ant could be top 5 in the league. I don't think he'll reach that peak for a long time. Yeah, I made a video about that about Anthony Edwards, and I even said I could see him being in the top 5 conversation in like 3 to 5 years. I don't know if he'll be able to right now, but I wouldn't be shocked. That dude, I love that dude. That dude is a dog, and I love it. Like all the shit talking, everything. I love it. Who's the tough guy in force of the Lakers roster? We don't seem to have any. That's the problem. We don't. That's a big concern. We don't. And I feel like you do need some of those. The Broncos are going to miss the playoffs. Watch. Stop sleeping on the Raiders. I mean, I wouldn't shock me either. Hot take, but I don't think Russ. I don't think he moves the needle that much for them. But I don't know. I do. Yeah. Your division is good when the worst quarterback is Exactly. Thank you. Mark Jackson developed that team. He took them to the playoffs and made them a better team. 41st was when he gets fired. I feel bad for Mark watching and commenting their championships. Yeah, I mean, Mark built and developed that team. The reason he got fired was because he was implementing a lot of stuff that the organization just didn't like. But I mean, he laid the blueprint. Steve Kerr came in and just kind of tweaked a few things to take them to the next level, which, both deserve credit. But I feel like Mark Jackson gets left out in the conversation of this great Warrior team. You don't know that Mark Jackson would have won a championship. Maybe Steve Kerr would be a great coach. Maybe he would win a championship. You needed more discipline in your analysis. So you're making a speculatory argument, and then in the speculation of the debate, you're saying you shouldn't have speculation. Now, Kenneth, your arguments aren't making sense, and beyond your arguments not making sense, the conversation is it's all pure speculation. It's all hearsay. The conversation from the beginning. So how could you have a speculatory conversation, which I'm all for? I'm all for having those discussions and those back and forths. But you can't say you need to be more disciplined in your analysis when you started an entire conversation based on your speculation. Like that's the thing. Like you're being asked backwards. Like, Mark Jackson, it is very likely he would have won a championship. He improved that team every single year. He never had a chance to take him to the championship because he got fired. So the idea of him not being able to win a championship with him is a lot less likely than Steve Kerr making the Timberwolves the last several seasons be a championship contender. I mean, am I wrong? But I'm saying, I'm all for having these conversations, but you can't tell me to be more disciplined in your analysis when your entire conversation is pure speculation. Your entire point of topic is just coming up with fake scenarios. What do you think is the Lakers ceiling next season for all of the scenarios? Where Russ stays, a Laker. We traded for Hilton Turner, and we traded for Kyrie. So I think the only one that makes us, in my opinion, a bona fide contender is Kyrie. I think with Hilton Turner, depending on how that works out, how that shapes up, I definitely think that that Hilton Turner could make us a contender. I think Kyrie gives us the best chance to win a championship. I like if you told me if you could fast forward and you were a time traveler, we got Kyrie, and you came back and you're like, yeah, we got Kyrie Irving and we won the championship this year, I'd be like, makes sense. Hilton Turner, like if you went and told me like, hey, we got Hilton Turner, it didn't really work out, that would make sense. I think Hilton Turner is going to be a little harder to get to contention status, but it makes us deeper, and I still think we are up there. And then if Russ stays, my problem is that when it comes to Russ with the Lakers, I think it comes down to how effective can Darvin Ham make Russ. If he can make Russ very effective, then I think that we have a chance. Now, if he can make him like serviceable, I think it's a little tough. So I would say Russ, we're not a contender. Hield and Turner, I'd say 50-50. I think Kyrie makes us a legit contender. Russell Wilson was average last season with the Hawks. Yeah, I think he's a great quarterback. I do, but I don't think he's that guy that can carry a team anymore like he used to. Assuming the rest of the roster being the same. Yeah, gotcha. Lakers need Bo Cruz. Unfortunately, he signed with the Raptors. And he has a guaranteed deal. Brooklyn just posted a Kyrie photo of more than a run. Kyrie with the Nets jersey. This combined with the latest news, good place for Brooklyn's front is in a good place for Brooklyn's front office. I'll have to look into it and dive into it because I haven't seen the photo yet, so I can't really talk about that. Mark Jackson had them in the playoffs and playing the same way they play now. Steve Kerr got an absolute free ride. Exactly. I mean, to say that Mark Jackson wouldn't have been able to win a championship with this team, it's silly. Especially if Kevin Durant went back to the Warriors. I could have coached them and won a championship. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just trying to discredit Mark Jackson to fit your argument. I don't get it. Russ can still take the Broncos to the playoffs, but not much further, in my opinion. I think they're playing. I don't think he moves the needle that much. Russ was injured most of the season. That's good points. I just still don't think he's a guy that can carry a team on his shoulders. That's personally. I agree with all of that. Well, thank you. You started the speculation. Okay. All right. We're done with that conversation. I'm not going to have an argument with somebody in the chat because they're can't have a normal conversation. Kyrie's championship contender, Buddy and Turner, 3 to 5 seed. Westbrook stays. We are the 6-7 seed. We are younger and better than last year. Yeah, I do. I think Kyrie contender, like I said, Buddy, Hield, Turner. I think regardless, I think we'll probably be to the 3 to 5 range, personally. Just because I don't think the Lakers are going to try to kill themselves for seeding. Even if we get Kyrie Irving, I still think we're going to be like the 3 to 5 range. Because I just think the Lakers, if you get Kyrie, all you care about is just getting to the playoffs, right? I think that's all they really care about. So personally, I think that will be how this unfolds. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. 6 to 7 seed, 3 to 5 seed, and then a bona fide contender. KD reunion will be tomorrow, possibly. Maybe they already talked. We don't know. We haven't had any reports otherwise, but we know that they were supposed to talk this week. So maybe they did. Maybe they already talked. But anyway, I got up to the end of the chat. I'm going to go eat. I am starving. Thank you all so very much for being a part of the stream, being a part of this discussion, all that. Thank you so much for Super Chat. Those that gave me Super Chats. Anybody that's newly subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Help me grow this channel. Don't forget to like this video on the way out. I'm going to eat, grab some grub, do all that stuff, and then I'm going to switch over probably to As It Stands, my main channel, and probably watch the game and maybe just have conversations over there. So if you can, come join me. I'd love to see it, all of that stuff. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.